Hello and welcome to the 13th video in this series, making simple Flappy Robin for the iPad and iPad using Cocos2d. This video then we're going to start adding some sound effects to the game. So I've got here added into resources, they're available for download. In the description for this video, the background music, a couple of explosions, a robin tap and success as well, a little bell sound for when we go past a tube and actually score. I'm going to handle all of the audio stuff inside our game manager. And the way it works is using something called OAL Simple Audio, and it makes things exactly what it says on the tin, very, very simple to manage audio. What we do need to do with audio is load our effects into the application at app start. So we want to say void, and we'll just call it load effects, like so. And the other one we'll want here is we'll want a void and a play effect. And this will actually take in an integer and the effect number, and you'll see how that works. So I'll just take these two functions here then and go into cgamemanager.m, and down the bottom here I'll make some room actually so that it's not all down the bottom. I'd have to zoom about, start fleshing out these functions a little bit. So the first thing then is the loading of the effects. So this is the preloading into the memory of all of our audio effects. It's very simply done. We just take our OEL Simple Audio and our shared instance, and then there's a preload effect, and we simply brutally give the file name here. So have explosion1.wav, wave, and then I'm going to copy this 4 times or 4 or 5 times here as explosion2. I just open the resources and check the names. So robin tap 1, and then success 1, and then there'll be success 2. The reason I have these 1s and 2s is when I've got many more sound effects for the same thing, then I usually select one at random by sending the name into a function and then how many of those effects there are and selecting the one at random. I don't need to really do it in this application because we have far less files available. The last thing I want to do then is we can preload, I think, background music. Yep, preload background. And here we just want to say bg music.mp3. God, the computer has slowed right down for some reason, so background music.mp3. Okay then, so that's the load effects done. I now just want to jump into the app delegate then, and what I want to do at the top here is just import our cgame manager, because I want to call this loading of effects down the bottom in this start scene function here. I'll just scroll that up. So I want to say cgame manager and shared game manager, and just call the load effects so that before we run our first scene, the intro scene, we load all the effects into the memory. And now back into the cgame manager we can look at how we might then play an effect. Well, this effect number is going to tell us what effect type we're actually wanting to play. So what we'll do is then we'll go into constants.h, and down here we'll say define k effect, and we'll call it tap, and then we'll say define and k effect explode, and we'll say define k effect score, like so. And then what we can do inside the cgame manager now is just say, I could use a switch, but I'm not going to use a switch. In fact, I won't flesh this out now, because what I'll need to do then is underneath here is make another function. I'm doing this slightly on the fly because it should be fairly simple stuff, so I apologize for the slight hesitation. So we have the play effect, which is called then by the intro scene when the effect needs playing, with the effect number, the constant. So now what we need to know is we need to know how many the name of that effect and how many of those effects we have available, because we want to select one of those then at random. So what we'll do is we'll say play effect with total, and then we can have an int and the total number of effects available, and we'll say and name, which then is the ns string, and that's the effect name. So what we'll do then is we'll say that the int num of the effect, we'll say num e equals arc for random, then moduloed by the num plus 1. So that will give us, we'll only have a 1 or a 2 in these cases here, but will give us either our 1 or our 2. And then what we can do is we can say that inner string and the file name is equal to inner string with format, and then we want the percentage and the @ symbol, because we've already got our name, straight away followed by the number, and then it's .wav like so. So that then gives us our file name. And last but not least, we can now take the audio shared instance, so I'll just copy and paste this in like so, and we can say play effect, and then that will be our file name. Volumes and things we'll deal with later on in the application. So that's our play effect with total, and I've forgotten the num e obviously in here, so we want the name and the num e. And why is it complaining here? No comma. Okay. So that's our file name done. Sorry, I forgot the name and the num e there, with the name and the number put together in the .wav, so explosion and then a 1. So all we need to do here now is simply see what's been sent in as the effect number. So we'll say that if effect number is equal to k, and have I not included constants? Nope, so we need to import at the top here constants.h, back down again. So k, so if we want k effect tap, then what we'll do is we'll say self and play effect with total, and here we've got, now I'm going to hard code these in. This is a bad idea. Usually you should put these as constants at the top of the file, at least that's what I usually do. Save a bit of time, I'll just hard code this in. We only have one tap, and the name is Robin tap. I'll just copy that now and put an else and an if, and copy again and put an else and an if. So if it's k effect explode, then we want explosion and we have 2, and otherwise we've got k effect score, and here then we have success, and this is also 2 effects available. So this will then, if we tell it to play either effect tap, effect explode or effect score from our intro layer, then the corresponding effect will then be played. So let's then, the play effect I've already declared here, so actually let's make this a capital P. I don't particularly like that being lowercase, so just go back into here and declare that like so. And now let's go into our intro scene and see if we can actually get these effects playing. So first thing we need to play then is the Robin tap. So I'm just going to go into begin touch began, and here we've got if game started equals yes, then we want to play it, and we also want to play if we've just started the game as well. If the game stopped, we won't play at all. So what we'll do then here is we'll just say then C game manager and shared game manager, and now we can say play effect and K effect tap, because we want to play an effect for us actually tapping, and we'll drop this code then into here because the game's already started and we've tapped the Robin. And now we can go up into the update and put the explosion in. So if the game is over, then we've had an explosion for either a collision or the Robin going off the bottom of the floor. So we'll just drop into here and we'll say K explode, and otherwise if the tube has been scored, then we'll just say K effect and score, and that should be then all we need to do for this. So I'm just going to run the application, and hopefully the sound won't be too loud. And now you can hear the tapping hopefully you can hear the tapping anyway as I tap the Robin, and all being well, when we go over the tube we should hear a nice ringing sound to say that we've scored. Indeed we do, and a couple. And there was a collision, and it happened to start again instantly on my tap as well. I'll just collide into the tube so you can hear the collision a little bit better. This is this problem with this delay that's not in there for when we actually collide. I'll just go again. And there you go, as an explosion as we collided. So the sound effects are now in. The last thing to add then is the actual playing of the background music. So we'll go back into our C Game Manager, and now I'll actually put void and play background music, and what we'll do here is we'll just leave this like this for now. Later on we'll change it to allow some toggling of it. Just drop down to the bottom of the file here and put the play background music in. Now we've loaded this here up here with a load of effects, so what we can do now is just take our shared instance and we can say play BG, I think it is, and we need to actually have a loop, so we'll take this one here then. So again, it's called BG music dot mp3, and the loop will just set to yes, like so, which allows us then to play our background music. And we'll start the background music up then as we come into our intro scene. So I'll take the game manager, and just in the initialization of our intro scene, right at the end then, when we've done everything else, let's just say to play our background music. And now you're going to hear some of the most irritating background music there is. And there's the background music also running and playing. And the game runs with the sound effects at the same time. Okay then, so that's it for this video. Some irritating music allowed. Later on in the application we'll add in the settings screen so we can change the volume of the effects and the volume of the background music and set it to 0 to turn it off because it's rather irritating. But hopefully that's given you a quick overview of how simple it is in Cocos2d to add sound effects into your game. As I said, the sound effects will be added into the download as normal with the code that's been altered in this video. But that's it for this one for now. See you in the next video. Comments, questions, criticisms welcome as always.